Right, we're going to see if a live stream actually works today, because if you were on yesterday, you might have known that there was quite a few issues trying to get a stream going, where it wouldn't start properly, or it wouldn't put the video settings, right, and then I'd have to stop it and start it, or one of them just timed out. And on one of the streams, people couldn't comment, like comments were working for about a minute and then they broke. So hopefully it's all right. But I've noticed on a few people's streams recently, there's been a lot of issues with chat. It's working at the moment, Braden. We'll have to see if it stays working. But you're right. And right, Rich, yeah, I'm not too bad. The problem is, again, not much to do at the moment because I'm obviously stuck indoors. We had a bit of snow. All right, Mr. Livera. And all right, is that Terran or Ferran? All right, Justin Vapor and everybody else just joining XXM Control Gaming. But yeah, what was I going to say? We had a bit of snow, but not that much. We had because they kept saying on the news, like, oh, you're going to get loads of snow in your area, and then we ended up, getting a bit on like the lawns. That was it. It's pretty much all melted now. They said there's going to be more snow, later today, but I don't know if there actually will be or not, because, like I said, we certainly didn't get the amount of snow we were meant to be getting. Cool, Braden. Yeah, the reason, like, you asked me about GTA Online, the reason I never got into it was I think I just got pissed off with people constantly blowing you up with jets and that. That's why I like Red Dead Online a lot more, because it's obviously lower tech. That's cool, Rajiv. Yeah, it's good if you don't have a job, where the snow messes you about if there's snow, if you know what I mean. Because I know a lot of people have jobs where, because they have to do like driving for their jobs or whatever, snow can be a nightmare if it blocks them going somewhere. But hello to everybody joining. I saw there was loads apparently on the East Coast, wasn't there? What happened, Radiac Maniac? Did it break or whatever, get contaminated? Yeah, they're saying stuck on the weather forecast for where I am in the UK, and I don't know if I believe it that much, that today, tomorrow, and Wednesday there could be snow pretty much every day, but when I've done the live weather maps, which are sometimes better, you can see like the satellite projection, because you can zoom in exactly where you live and see, in closer detail. A lot of the time, though, it doesn't go over where I am, so I don't know why on one bit they're saying, like on the BBC, oh yeah, in Oxford you're going to get snow, but then when you actually zoom in on Oxford and click play, it doesn't actually have snow going over. I don't like the GP7. Some people do. My one's up there. I really personally don't like it. It's personal opinion, though, obviously. How will the trade winds go? I don't get what you mean by that, Braden. All right, Welsh lad, Dan T. I'm all right, thank you. That's annoying, Radiac Maniac. I suppose you could always put a bit of lead on the front, couldn't you, to be a gamma-only filter? Well, it's a good starter mask. Well, everybody gets a GP5 normally as a starter mask, but yeah, that's sort of my opinion on it, all radioactive. Like, the one I really like, I need to charge it up to my Radioscan, the Radioscan 701A, because that basically does everything the Gamma Scout does. It's just the winds. Yeah, I mean, normally when we get snow, Braden, obviously because of how big the Atlantic is, it's generally always comes over more from, like, north or east of Europe sort of direction. But if you're looking at the Nixie tube clock, that's a Nixie tube clock. So, like the old Fallout games, those sort of things. It was a method before, like, digital displays of displaying numbers. So it's what is technically called a cold cathode display, I believe. Yeah, Nixie tubes are really nice, cool-looking things. It's kind of a shame that, these are obsolete tech now and there's less and less Nixie tubes being made. Cool, Stug. Yeah, I've got, I think I've got a DIAC F1. I can't remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got an F1 grenade. Yeah. I don't know why I was having to think there, but, that's what ends up happening eventually. But yeah, so Nixie tubes are essentially, it's like you've got a filament inside the, I don't know how easy that would be to see on webcam, but is that going to focus? Depends if it wants to focus on it properly. But that's kind of annoying because it's otherwise you'd be able to see it really well, but the webcam just does not want to focus. There we go, sort of. So you might, yeah, there we go. Right, can you see there? You see all the numbers in there. So how it works is, you know, it basically is a bit like a neon light. It lights up one of the individual numbers when, you know, it's like I said, it's one of those things that's been made completely obsolete by modern digital displays, but Nixie tubes look a lot cooler. But how is everybody anyway? Hello, Brighton. Oh yeah, that's the first message I've seen from you. Yeah, I do, Stug. Yeah, I've got the green one and the black one, haven't I? They're technically Polish versions of the F1 grenade. Those. I won't ring it really loud because it's about antisocial, but. I used to Welsh, lad, because you watched Inbred, did you, Flazzy? You are dirty. You got a dirty mouth. I'll sort you out. But yeah, Inbred's good, isn't it? Mike got around to watching it last night. But yeah, normally I wear a watch, but obviously at the moment where I literally, you know, can't do volunteering, can't go to work because the government's closed it with all the corona restrictions. I've ended up not wearing a watch as often now just because of the fact that, you know, I'm always in a house of clocks in it. So. Black Sails is an excellent series, Peach. What series are you on? I won't give you any spoilers. Yeah, Mike. Unfortunately, that would probably just result in more bullshit, but I'd agree with you. Yeah. I'm trying to remember what my favourite series is, but it's one of those series, I think, although I like Series 1, I think it's one of those series where once you get to like season 2 or whatever, that's where it gets way, way better. Because I really like the sort of plot twist in it, which I obviously won't spoil for you. But there's kind of a plot twist in it. But yeah, I won't say, I don't really want to say anything, so definitely don't want to spoil it for people. It was a thing that pissed a load of people off online, but that's, you know, people are just cunts that didn't like it. Not saying you know, if you didn't like it, but it's because there's a character that, the problem is I want to talk about it, but I don't want to spoil it, so. But weird, Dominic, there's a factory near me that does an all-clear air raid siren at the end of a work shift. So you can sometimes hear that if you're out and about and the wind's blowing in the right direction. I've got Chernobylite Braden on Steam, but I've barely played any of it, weirdly. Just simply because of the fact that, you know, I think I bought it when it was on sale or something with a load of other games. And then I installed it. I was like, oh, this looks pretty nice graphically, but I didn't have the time on that day to play it. And now it's on the growing list of games I own and have never played. Yeah, it'd be good, Chernobyl, man. I'm not very good at practical at building that. But I think it would be cool to put a Nixie tube clock like that into one of those, you know, Pit Boys things they sold in one of the collector's editions of one of the Fallout games. Like, rather than having a phone in it, putting some sort of Nixie tube clock in it or a little Geiger counter. But yeah, I'm hoping Stalker 2 is going to be really good. But, you know, like I said, because a lot of the original developers aren't working on it, I wouldn't really hold my breath over that. Oh, is YouTube bright talk? So YouTube has randomly decided asbestos is a banned word. I think other people have had that problem before. Sometimes they could write it, sometimes they couldn't. All right, see you, Dominic. Have a good evening. Yeah, I need to remember Stug to download Anomaly, because I used to have Anomaly, but I've not got it installed at the moment. Yeah, mods can write anything in the chat, though. That's the thing. If you're a mod, you can post links and you can write words. But if you're not a mod, there's words that won't come out. So if everybody in the chat, don't know what you mean by that. I mean, YouTube just has a growing list of words, unfortunately. Or weird, if I'm saying your name right, that's just basically, unfortunately, words they have decided that are banned words, but they don't tell anybody what those words are, so you just randomly keep finding that people's messages don't show up. I know I sometimes play Gmod Chernobyl. I'm normally in Gmod, though. I just play either Trouble in Terrorist Town or like Zombie Survival. I have a quick look, Radiac Maniac, but I can't normally open links very well when I'm on a stream, just because of the fact that let's have a look. So that's just literally fallen out. Yeah. I probably look a bit different, Grunman, because there's a lockdown, isn't there? So I can't really go out and work as I would normally be doing. So I'm stuck in the house. I think it did, Brighto. The only comment I last saw from you was the asbestos one. Yes and no, even. Basically, it's a really shitty situation where you could be lucky like me and you could have been furloughed from your job, at which point I know we're going to have to pay for it again eventually because of how taxes and all that works. But if you were lucky, you basically get told you get furlough pay because you're not allowed to go to work. So basically, in that sense, I'm all right. The problem was, as we've said quite a few times on here, the government decided to tell all the companies at one point that furlough was ending. So lots of companies had to lay lots of staff off because they wouldn't be able to afford to pay them and not be open. And then the government, literally a week later, said, "Oh wait, no, we'll carry on furlough." But at that point, half the workforce had lost their jobs in lots of places, and now they get no support whatsoever. In theory, you can get income support if you're unemployed, but apparently that's really not enough money for a lot of people. I know people who've lost their houses now because of this, or they've had to downsize where they live because they had say if you had one or two people in a house both working 40-hour-a-week jobs to support their income, then you get you get fired essentially because the government said they were going to stop furlough and they then didn't. Then they try and claim the benefits, and the benefits just clearly aren't enough, or they say, oh, because one person in the household is still earning a certain amount, you can't claim it. Oh, that's interesting, Brighto. I mean, I'd still be a bit cautious, but I do trust the Polish filters a bit more than the Soviet ones for obvious reasons. But yeah, even it's bad for some people. It's just that really shit. I think it's really shitty that they did that, because one of my mates that's happened to, and now obviously he's on the growing list of unemployed people that are all going to be trying to apply for jobs, and at the moment there aren't many jobs you can even apply for because everything's closed. Oh, it does work. Wow, silicon lubricant, doesn't it? On that for that hacking was. I wouldn't use silicon lubricant for other uses that lubricants are used for because it's a bit of a different thing. I don't think it'd be good on your skin. But at the peak of how many I owned, Benjamin, probably about 150, but I've sold and given away quite a few now. There's lots of functional masks. I mean, if you get any that pretty much take a 40mm NATO filter, if you're in the West, for example, because it's easy to get 40mm NATO filters here, and it's in a good condition, it most likely will still work. I've not seen your question, Hunter S. Thompson. I know Hunter S. Thompson is, but you're clearly not the real Hunter S. Thompson. I've been doing that a bit recently just to clear up some space, because as you can probably see from behind me, there is a lot of clutter. And don't get me wrong, a lot of the other rooms in the house do not look as bad, but there's this room and a couple of rooms in the house where there's just too much of random stuff. So I've been selling stuff often quite cheap just to clear some space. Worst British gas mask, in my opinion, is the GSR, or it's technically not a British gas mask, and although apparently the Avon made ones now are pretty good. The best one, in my opinion, is the S10 out of like the ones the British Army used. Yep, I've got those at the moment. I've got the Polish ones, Hylon. I've got the PK56. Weirdly, this thing, I've had this from the last time I was asked about them. I don't think any of mine have changed colours yet. I've been storing them next to some radioactive check sources, but the colours on mine haven't changed at all yet. So, yeah, it's going to be a thing of maybe waiting quite a long time, because bear in mind, those things, when they change colour, are for measuring stuff like 50 Rontgen, 100 Rontgen, stuff like that. I don't really have any check sources, thankfully, that give off radiation doses that scary. Depends what you mean, Hunter S. Thompson. In a sense, no. If you mean like by size of the bullets in them, like the cartridge size, most bolt action rifles of World War II were pretty beefy. But obviously, if you have a modern, like, designated marksman rifle today, you know, battle rifle style rifle, modern cartridges for them are more efficient. So, I mean, the US 30-06 used in World War II in like the M1 Garand, that's a pretty damn beefy round. But in terms of effectiveness, like obviously the tanks in World War II are nowhere near as good as modern tanks. Obviously, the atomic bombs used at the end of World War II, Little Boy and Fat Man, the yields on those are tiny compared to modern thermonuclear weapons. You know, when Castle Bravo was tested during the Cold War, that was 15 megaton. The Soviets had the Tsar bomb, which was 50 megatons and could be scaled up to 100 megaton. And the World War II bombs were about 15 to 20 kiloton sort of yield, which is essentially almost like a thousandth of some of those other bombs. Apparently, Isle of Dragons, the good news is the vaccines so far appear to still be working against them. So in that regard, the new strains aren't so scary. The only scary thing with the new strains is obviously that they spread very much more efficiently. Yeah, I played War Thunder quite a lot, but I ended up just completely giving up on it because of how broken the balance got in it eventually. No, not much at all, Captain Fuzzy Balls Jr. Not much snow around here at all, actually. We had a dusting on the grass. I was on about this earlier in the stream. The news kept saying that, we were going to get loads and loads of snow in our area, and we didn't. Like, further east, they got a lot of snow, just not where I am. And obviously, in Scotland, they've probably got quite a lot as well. But, where we are, it's one of those things where often they'll include us in, like, the yellow weather warnings. But then you'd be quite disappointed if you wanted snow. But I mean, the problem is all the snow at the moment, it's slowing down some of the stuff with vaccinations and stuff like that, which is something you really don't want. I did do one ages ago, Chernobyl Man. But, well, like, no, I don't do house tour videos because that invades other people's privacy. I've done a room tour video. I think that's a members only video, though. But, like I said, with all the fucking weirdos you have to put up with on here, no offense, I'm not saying that directed at you, but a load of the regulars will know the sort of shit I've had to put up with. I don't really talk about my personal life as much anymore. It's because you get very, very strange people that know every detail down about you to try and impersonate you, or like send you death threats, call the police on you, stuff like that. No, helmet ties. There's one going up for sale this month in Cornwall, but the asking price for that one's too much, in my opinion. So basically, this month, no. Hopefully, some more get listed soon. Yeah. Well, I don't really have a collection of those dosimeters, Halon. I've just got a few plus the PK set, if that makes sense. I'll do a video on it fairly soon if you want. This week, I want to do a video on the pistol crossbow that I got the replacement one of because the first one they sent me broke. So I want to do a video on a particular pistol crossbow that was sponsored by one of the sort of supporters of the channel. So big thank you to him, Yuval. He was the one who gave Mike a load of money towards the crossbow Mike bought as well. But annoyingly, like I said, I'm not really going to get a chance to shoot it very much at the moment because of like what the weather's like and that. But I can certainly do a putting the crossbow together video, like an unboxing one, assembling it, and showing you how to put it together, not how the instructions say, because the instructions will make you more likely to damage it, which I'll go over in that video. Yeah, exactly, Braden. That's why people don't get on Discord anymore. You know, because unfortunately, for every like good person that would sign up, or like, you know, for every 5 people would sign up who just want to chat about militaria, you'd end up getting somebody who would sign up literally just for the sake of gathering people's personal information, you know, insulting people, you know, like breaking as many rules as possible and then whinging when they got kicked. I've got the Stowhow up for auction at the moment, so obviously I can't tell people on YouTube, for example, to go and bid on it. But the point is, yeah, I've got one up for auction at the moment. Because what I've basically been doing with a lot of the stuff I've been selling is I've offered it to channel members as priority, because they're the people who, you know, support me monthly on here at good prices. If they're not interested in anything, you know, it'll eventually probably turn up on eBay or elsewhere. I've also got people, you know, I know in real life who want to buy some of the stuff, but some of them, you know, I can't see them at the moment because of lockdown. So, you know, we're not going to be dumb and just, I'm not going to go and sell people stuff in person for lockdown, you know, reasons. When that's over, you know, we'll follow the law and do it all legally. Well, that's the thing, ACM. I wouldn't have many in there. The whole point is moving out. You know, that's why do you think I was saying about getting rid of a lot of stuff? Yeah, that's a plasma globe that's not plugged in down there. Unfortunately, Helmet Tide you do, because apparently this attracts those sort of people. Because I think part of the problem I had is lots of people probably thought I was like really far right or something, joined up, and then when I told them basically, no, I think your ideology is fucking stupid, they went fucking insane at me. You know, because I really do not give a shit about some racial purity bollocks that people want to spout online. You know, the nice thing about this, in theory, of the internet is you meet people from all over the world, you know, different religions, different colors, all that, and we can all get along and have a chat on here, because, you know, we don't really start arguing about politics for the most part. But then you get some people who just want to constantly bring it up and start fights with people. But, you know. So sorry if I've been missing any comments, because I've been trying to give detailed answers to people. There was somebody who basically said if I was going to sell the FM12, could I sell it them? That's a channel member, Lucas, but I've still not really decided if I'm going to sell the FM12. No, I gave away one of my S10s a while ago to somebody who was a supporter of the channel, was having a bit of a hard period. So I sent it him as a gift, you know. So I've only got one S10 now, and I keep that for myself. Quite a few people, not my parents, but I think I've had like obviously my granddad's generation, loads because of World War II. And I'm pretty sure that, you know, like I've had cousins, like, you know, how many times removed, whatever it is, that have done service type stuff. But yeah, it was exactly, Philip. It's like the same, isn't it, as the people who refuse to wear masks and cough at people. You know, you get a few, like you say, a few idiots that ruin it for everybody. I mean, I do Helmet, but the thing is, like I said, I don't really want to mention it on here, because then you'd probably get people who would find it to cause trouble. Well, Schlumpty Dumpty, no. I'd trust the filter itself, but I wouldn't pay the price Myra wants for a filter, because the filters Myra sell are Czech filters. They're Czech military filters, or like Czech industrial filters that they've rebranded and they're selling for more money. There's one I might be selling, Music Nut, but I think Stug's basically reserved it if he wants it. Yeah, because I've got a few plate characters. You can look on my channel for some videos on different bits of body armor. Do you know what, man? Personally, I really like the MF11D that's right at the back there, and you can't really see it, but I'm not going to move a load of stuff around to get it out. I really like the CT12 that's back there as well. There's a few masks I really like, but basically what I do is I wear a proper respirator electroshock. I have the mask I'm using at the moment, most commonly anyway, because I've got a couple, so I can keep one in my car, one in my room, that sort of thing. The one I'm using at the moment is, I think it's the MSA 410, and I've got a combination like lightweight P3 filter on there with a bit of vapor protection. So that way it just means that you can't smell stuff. The particle bit's the bit that protect you from COVID. I kind of just like when you have a mask on, the fact that it does block smells, because of the fact that obviously if you walk down somewhere and there's like a shitty smell or a piss smell somewhere, down on the high street somewhere when you're going shopping or whatever, I like the fact that you can't smell it. Your mask's working. Apparently, Victor, it does, because apparently Sikhs and I think Muslims in the British Army are allowed to do that, because for religious reasons they won't have their beard shaved off. I think they can use Vaseline with the thing, but obviously it's better to not have a beard if you're using a mask, and ideally you want to be completely clean shaven. I mean, I think on military stuff your tash can be like that size, can't it? Like not a bit bigger than the Hitler tash, but because the reason is it's like a facial seal. Like, so mine would be technically, I think, too far on the sides there. Yeah, long hair with masks is not very comfortable. There are some masks that will seal fine if you have long hair, but lots will also pull at your hair, like they'll get caught in straps. Not really personally electroshock. I've had weirdo people go, why do you need that mask on? It's all a fake virus, that kind of shit. But not ever staff in shops, because I think if you're in a shop, most staff are happy to see that there's people wearing a mask, not the people demanding that they don't have to wear a mask. If Weapon Collector's streaming, Braden, on Twitch, then I won't be on RDO, because obviously I'll be watching him on Twitch. I'll definitely be on tomorrow if you want to play some tomorrow. You have to tell me what sort of time, though. I think tomorrow the things change again, don't they? Like the weekly benefits. But I did a little bit earlier with one of my real life friends just because he wanted to get another trader thing in before the thing changes. But eBay, when they used to just turn up on eBay a lot. Sadly, I think the Finnish M39 was one of those masks where a load got on the surplus market over here a while ago, when you could pick them up for a decent price. But then sadly, obviously I guess a lot of the stock of them ran out, because it used to be for like 30 quid, 30 to 50 pounds. You could get them in their cardboard box, the Swedish and Finnish instructions in there. But then it just literally became the thing of like a lot of surplus. When that stock ran out, it ran out. You're right. You're not going for a walk in the snow. Okay, like right. I'll be on tonight when you're on there. I'm not. I've had one of those days today where I got up late, so I'm feeling quite awake at this time. Where in days where I get up at a sensible time in the morning are the days where I feel exhausted by 9 p.m. There's no. The idea, Russell, is that you don't change the filter in a hazardous environment. You can do it. I think with the only thing I've ever seen on some filters that will tell you without having to remove anything is the ones that use like almost like a bit of litmus paper on there that's designed to change color when the filter's running out. Sometimes I do, Chernobyl, man. I mean, I find this hoodie comfortable, so I do wear it a lot. Obviously, at the moment, I'm normally wearing like a body warmer or something over this, because but sometimes I do, Chernobyl, man, but often I'm just wearing normal clothes, Yeah, Schlumpty Dumpty, I have a feeling you can get Russian dot filters, I think they're called. Let me find out what they normally call them, because Hype sent me a load at one point that looked like Soviet filters, but they're like made in the same factories. But they're obviously modern HEPA filters inside them, not the old dodgy Soviet asbestosy kind of cardboard stuff they used to put in them. But I know when Corona first hit, there was definitely a problem getting filters from Russia, because I think the government stopped them being used. In the sense of what's the word for it? Like for PPE, because they needed obviously all the PPE they could get because of Corona. For a while, Russia Export banned a lot of it, so they could I'm just having a look now, see if I can find any. The problem is, like, it's all Soviet stuff coming up at the moment. Whereas you used to be able, definitely for cheaper than Myra sold them, buy new sealed filters like that on eBay. But yeah, I think what's the name of it? There was let me just try and find it. I won't be on the chat obviously for a bit because obviously I'm just going to be looking this up, but I'm pretty sure. Let me just search it in Google. Is it a Zelinsky dot filter? No Google Assistant, I'm not talking to you.
According to Merriam-Webster, 1. A device or a mass of material with tiny openings through which a gas or liquid is passed to remove something. The filter removes dust from the air. 2.
Yeah, but I wasn't talking to you, Google. Yeah. At least it was something relevant. But yeah, anyway, let me go back to what I was doing. I think it might be a Zelinsky dot filter, because there's a Zelinsky dot mag, isn't there? All right, here we go. So if we go, like, it seems all the modern Zelinsky ones look like they're actually plastic. Was it a Zelinsky one, or was it one of the other Russian companies that did that? Yeah, because like obviously what I'm thinking of looks more like this, but I think they used to do them in the old metal casing. What about it, Assign Jones? Some of it's good, some of it's bad, like most nations. You know, I'm not one of those jingotastic idiots where I claim everything that comes out of this country is amazing, because that can be sometimes a quite frustrating stuff when you want to discuss surplus of people and they think, you know, everything from my nation is the best, you know, where in general I found that, you know, some of the surplus, some of it's better from Russia. A lot of American stuff is good, but not all of it, you know. Some British stuff is good, some British stuff is absolute crap. Sorbent dot, is it DF? Let's have a look. Does the DOT itself stand for something? Because it's still coming. Yeah, so oh, that's a Myra one on one of these where they're showing it, but yeah. But yeah, it seems Myra essentially just selling those at a higher price. You see, that's kind of what Myra do. For anybody that don't know, some of Myra's products are absolutely fine. You know, but the problem is Myra don't make anything, right? They essentially just rebrand stuff. So you know how like you get the Mankung crossbows and all that are then rebranded as like Armex and all the other brands. Myra do that and then they put the price up massively. So like one of the things on Myra's website is a SOEX Geiger counter, a really small SOEX model. But then they charge like an extra $50 for it, you know, and they just have Myra printed on it rather than SOEX. So basically they buy in bulk from companies, they have the rights to rebrand it, and then they just sell it for more money. That's good to know, Class 2 instructor. I haven't yet, helmet tides, because I'm not in a group considered vulnerable enough to get it yet. But my granddad's had the vaccine, my dad's getting the vaccine really soon. There's meant to be a thing, isn't there, where you can find out how far down the queue you are for the vaccine. Let me look that up. Where am I in the UK vaccine line or queue? Yeah. Vaccine queue calculator for the UK. This is what we want. Right, let me put in my medical problems, because as lots of the people who are on this channel a lot know. So there's a 9-point priority list, and that is, number 1 is residents in a care home for older adults and their carers. Number 2 is all those 80 years of age and over and frontline health and social care workers. 3 is all those 75 of age and over. 4 is all of those 70 years of age and over and clinically extremely vulnerable individuals. I'm certainly not clinically extremely vulnerable. 5 is all those 65 years of age and over. 6 is all individuals aged 16 to 64 with underlying health conditions that put them at higher risk of mortality. So I'd probably be category 6. I'd imagine on there looking at it. So let me use the calculator. So age, I'm 27, I think. No, I'm not in a care home. No, I'm not pregnant unless the alien shoves something at me. Health worker, no. Unpaid carer, no. I wasn't asked to shield during lockdown. Do I have underlying health conditions on? Ah, there's a list, is there? Cool, let's have a look at the list. I've got asthma. So is asthma on the list? It can be on that list. I'm certainly not clinically extremely vulnerable asthma, but is ulcerative colitis on here? Do they have a thing about autoimmune? No. Right, I'm just gonna tick that for now, because if not, I'll be really far down the list. So let's just tick that just to find out. So I'll say I have a health condition on the list because I have asthma, but I'm not on the extremely vulnerable list. So on what I've done, it reckons I should receive my first vaccine within about a month's time. That's pretty good, if that's correct. But you know, I know the vaccine's been going really well over here in terms of they are actually getting it out to the vulnerable people really fast. Yeah, thanks, Rich, for reminding everybody. Don't forget to like the stream. The annoying thing is how YouTube keeps changing the interfaces. There's loads of stuff you used to be able to do on the live stream stuff you can't do anymore. I'll see if I can get the live control room up, because that gives me like more analytics. But you know, YouTube like to change everything constantly and never for the better. I swear, if they do something that's good on YouTube, they have to find a way of going back and like removing it. So yeah, I'm on the stream here, but yeah, there's still not as much info on here that there used to be on these. So that's a bit weird. It should be quite easy in the States for you to buy it, Music Mutt. The problem is in buying American stuff from outside America is the ITAR restrictions on them. Now, that should only apply to technically the latest and best sort of US military stuff, but often I think sellers don't want to send it out of the States in case they get caught with it. Apparently, sometimes, you know, you'll run into customs individuals who just don't know what it is and think it's like, you know, they might think a World War II gas mask like a modern gas mask. But yeah, the main reason is shipping from America is stupidly expensive. Like, you know, I can buy stuff from China, have it arrive faster and pay far less, you know, or lots of places in the world. But for some reason, lots of US couriers want like, you know, $50 for a small item, which is just stupid. And sometimes you get tax on it as well. I've seen the, you know, man, what do you mean? Do you mean like the cages they put around vehicles to trap the heads of RPGs? Or do you mean like the reactive explosive armor? Yeah, that's not good, is it, Class 2 instructor, if they're taking that long? But yeah, the UK, despite the UK fucking up with nearly everything regarding Corona, the vaccine thing's like the only thing the government's managed to do well. So, you know, credit where credit's due, they are at least managing all the vaccines. You know, they ordered shitloads of vaccines to begin with. You know, they put lots of funding into different companies developing vaccines, you know, and now they are really rolling them out fast. So I wanted to last year, Nord Brown, then Corona happened. But yes, I would do if it was, you know, easy to book a trip and all that. That's annoying, Rich. Yeah, at the moment as well, I can't even switch between live chat and top chat on some of my own streams like this. So if there's videos coming up in, you know, one of the chats, I can't see it on the other one. Electric shock. At the moment, I'm not really having anything in the stock market because of the fact that, you know, I'm trying to save up to move out. I don't know, Brighto. Like, thing is, we can't see it at my end. This is the problem, right? It doesn't tell me you said a word and it's hidden a comment. It just, you know, you're an unperson. It's 1984. You know, for everybody else, the comment doesn't exist. Your screen, the comment comes up. For us, the comment never appears. You know, it's a form of censorship essentially, and there's nothing I can do about it. Well, that's up to you, Claire, isn't it? You have the choice in nearly every country, including here, to not have the vaccine if you don't want it. It's going to be a stupid thing with the YouTube chat then, Flazzy. It might be one of those things where it just literally won't show up for me for some reason. Again, like Richard was saying, that's been a problem on some streams and videos where it's like the comments aren't actually integrated properly for everybody. That's annoying, Brightolt. What if you put asterisks in it, like you did about the asbestos? So you're on about the PK56 color meter, yeah? The one we were talking about to anyway, for the person who was asking about the vials, I've got a wooden crate over here, like a really thick wooden crate I've been keeping some of the bits in, but I don't think there's been any change in colour. Well, it might have gone slightly redder. It's always hard to tell. Because until you start getting it properly changed colour. Oh, okay, cool. But yeah, that might have changed colour ever so slightly, but it's really hard to tell. I've got some still in there, plastic bits in there. So let me just check those. That one looks very clear. I'll just seal it back up. This other one's really clear. So yeah, when you get them, they're essentially in little vials like that. So it, you know, just give them a bit of protection from shock. You can check the colour quite easily just with your eye doing that. But yeah, obviously the idea with them was that they're designed to really be, you know, used in the calorimeter, whatever they call it thing. But as I said, that it's not the most reliable of things. Because yeah, with these are the ones I find a lot more reliable. Like this one's gone off scale now, but when you charge it up, like I can get the needle to move on these with check sources. Obviously, the more sensitive ones, you'll see it move faster. What I'm saying is, like, if I put this in a, you know, next to a check source for a week in a box, I could come back in a week and definitely see the needles moved, you know, and you can try charging these up and checking them manually for discharge. The color meter ones haven't changed color at all yet, or if they have, they've done it very slowly. But I don't know if that stuff goes off. It might be that, you know, if you've got a vial from the 1960s or something, you know, whatever changes with the color doesn't work anymore. Somebody spamming the thing. I have got a Warsaw Pact Polish helmet person with a name that I hope you don't have that name because of, you know, reasons. Oh, that's cool. Kolzik. Yeah, if it was being used as a joke name, I don't mind as much. But if you're not aware, I have had a lot of problems with actual, like, real Nazis coming on here. Oh, when I say real Nazis, I don't mean like the actual Third Reich. I mean, you know, people that think it's cool to worship Hitler online and like keep shouting about killing Jews and that, you know. So, cheers, Benjamin. Well, do you know, but at the moment I'm trying to do the stream, so I can't really search stuff, because at the moment I'm kind of worried of how much these YouTube streams break to go off of them. I've got M9A1s are cool masks. There we go, Boss of Poland. That's a much better name. I don't mind what your name is on other people's channels if you're on there, but yeah, when it's just because, like I said here, we've actually had like problems with people being harassed, you know, by actual people that really, really love that 1488 shit. You know? But there we go. Like I said, that would be good, Fuzzy. I mean, there's probably somewhere already online that's been translated, hasn't there? I think I've got the manual here, but yeah, I'll think about that, Bright. I'll check first because somebody might have already done it. Because generally, with a lot of that surplus stuff, you can find translated manuals from online. Yeah, that's the really annoying thing, Richard, isn't it? That it literally, just can get rid of comments. It will either do the shadowban thing. They also do this thing now, YouTube, which is good in some ways, but it's also a bit censory in others, where if a comment is held for review, and I think you don't approve the comment, like within a certain amount of days, and it's less than a month, it permanently deletes the comment. So, yeah, cool, Boss Island. I know what you mean. Is it KS71 or whatever it's called? Visa was on about the other day. NS71 with the IR lamp, yeah, where it's the steel pot, and then you've got the Polish NS71, yeah. The problem is, Claire, there's never been any good competitors to YouTube. I suppose there's BitChute and things like that, isn't there? But yeah, the problem is nobody ever seems to make a good enough replacement to YouTube because they'd need so much money for all the server hosting for the videos, I imagine. That's the problem. It's not good that YouTube have a total monopoly because monopolies are never good for anybody, except the people at the top of the monopoly. But there's a lot of stuff I like about YouTube, but there's also so many things where it's not like you can go anywhere else. Oh, BitChute censors people as well, does it? Interesting enough, BitChute was on the list then of blocked words, as in the ones I could manually approve, not the comments that just disappear. Yeah, that's the problem, Flazzy. Yeah, Twitch is alright for video games. Twitch videos don't stay on permanently, though, do they? After like 30 days, they go. That's the only problem. Varg, whereabouts are you in the world? Because you're going to want to get modern GOST filters for it, and that might be a bit difficult depending on where you are. I can actually, I've got some hair clippers somewhere, and I can't even find them anymore. Otherwise, I'd have done it like a week ago. But I can't be asked to buy a new set of clippers because I bet as soon as I buy a new set of clippers, I'll find the old ones. Yeah, that might work. It would have to be a massive company like that. Maybe Elon Musk could do it. Maybe you ought to ask Elon Musk, can you do a YouTube alternative? Because Elon does some interesting stuff with his money. He's not one of those people that sits on his money. Makes rockets, makes cars. Tweets about Dogecoin raising the price. Nah, if my hair gets way too long, I might just end up caving in and buying new clippers. But yeah, it's just one of those really irritating things. Like, I knew where they were when I cut my hair in November, and they're not there anymore. Did Elon Musk make a flamethrower? I don't think I've ever seen it. That'd be pretty difficult, Chernobyl, man, considering that, I don't cut my hair in this room. I cut it over a sink with, like, a carrier bag in the sink to catch the hair. No, I never wanted to be in the UK Special Forces, no, and the requirements of being in, something like the SAS is really bloody high. No, what do they look like, Boss of Poem? What's the name of them? Yeah, I don't blame you, Class 2 instructors, because like with Corona, I think that's made a lot of people realise, hasn't it, that it's not such a far-fetched scenario that you might need a mask for something. Like, in all honesty, I thought the most use I'd get out of my mask would be some sort of industrial accident. Like, say, a tanker truck on the nearby roads carrying some chemicals, it crashes, you get some sort of chemical fire. It's literally called the boring flamethrower, is it? I'll Google it. Although, like I said, I don't want to Google too much at the moment in case it... Not a flamethrower, the boring company, is it that? Which looks like a... That looks pretty cool. It looks a bit like a Nerf gun. That's kind of the scary thing. So why do they call it not a flamethrower? I'm assuming this is very illegal in Britain, unfortunately. Not to look at it, but you know, because I think I'd buy that, you know, if we could legally own them over here, just because it would be funny. Oh yeah, because it doesn't use a gasoline type thing. Oh, I get you now. So it's using butane gas like a lighter uses, yeah. So it's essentially just pressurized butane shot out a nozzle. Are flamethrowers war crimes? I thought flamethrowers could still be used. I mean, they're horrible things. Don't get me wrong, but I thought flamethrowers were still used in a sense for like building clearance because they have all the shit like napalm still, and like the things that replace flamethrowers were more the things that could shoot like a block of napalm, aren't they? Like those sort of thermobaric style warheads. I mean, there's a lot of things banned in War, Chernobyl, man, that people still use. Yeah, so that's the thing. So there's lots of stuff, isn't it, that's cool, but, you know, not very impressive. Like a lot of my old military stuff like that is cool to look at, it's cool to own, but it's not going to be very practical. Yeah, Joshua, that was what I was getting at, thermobarics, yeah. Because, yeah, like, because was it like during the 70s or 80s that, like, a lot more nations seemed to go for those, like, essentially just look like rocket weapons, didn't they, that shot, like, the flame sort of incendiary things? Well, if there were any that are nearby, then yes, it'd be the sort of thing where if I was somewhere and there was one you could get into, then sure. But the problem is a lot of them in the UK are privately owned and locked up. Calvert Hatch is very interesting. What's RUC? I'm guessing not Boss of Poland because I don't know what it stands for. Let me. Or do you mean Royal Ulster Constabulary? No, I don't have anything from Northern Ireland, I don't think. The closest thing I have to a Northern Ireland thing, you might be able to just see it in the back there, but it's behind loads of shit, is the flak jackets that was like the British Army issue flak jackets during the Troubles. But no, I don't have any Royal Ulster Constabulary stuff. Yeah, the closest thing I have to a non-military style cap with sort of those things is the traffic warden cap, like the one from Fred's. You've missed quite a lot of discussion, OK9. I don't know if you've missed anything really interesting. You know, you can always go back and watch this stream later. Years and years ago, Billy No Mates, I'd love to go to Leeds Armories again, but obviously at the moment, Corona lockdown, no, you can't. Also, Leeds is quite far for me to go because I'm in Oxfordshire. Calvert Hatch is good to go to, which is fairly close. Warwick Castle's fairly close. When I say fairly close, I mean like a couple of hours drive at most, you know. What other military stuff is there around me? There's the Pitt Rivers part of one of the museums in Oxford where they've got like a big firearms display and stuff like that. Nowhere near the size of Leeds Armories, but they've still got, you know, some cool shit in there. But yeah, there's annoyingly, I'm in that sort of area of the UK where there's not that much. You know, if you're in a lot of coastal areas, there's a lot more in terms of like old World War II or old Napoleonic stuff. Yeah, sadly, Boss of Poland, most of the surplus stores here are dying out just because eBay is cheaper, you know, for people selling stuff. So, because it's a shame, my local surplus store used to be really good if you wanted to buy, you know, camo. They used to have loads and loads and loads of different like uniforms from across the world, and you could, you know, check the sizes against yourself properly. You know, you could pick the one out that was the least faded from the rack. You know, you can't do that when you're buying online. Oh, what, as in the government selling off stuff at auction? Yeah, I know they do that. Right. Niam, can you also use them to clear out buildings and then people accidentally happen to be inside? Because I know there's a lot of dodgy shit like that, isn't there, with like war crimes technically, where, oh, if I was using something for a certain purpose, then it's fine, even though I'm blatantly using it to kill people. Like I'm saying, that's the military logic. Because isn't there like one of the weapons, and probably Russia has it as well as the US, but where it's a bit like a thermobaric weapon, but doesn't it create like lethal gas when it goes off? But because that's a secondary effect of the explosion, and then, you know, when this gas goes downwind, it's not actually a chemical weapon. You know, it's that kind of logic that's a bit, you know, dodgy that But like I said, I'm not a war criminal that, thinks, oh, good, I can get around, It's like white phosphorus. Oh, we're using it for smoke signals and we burn people alive with it. No idea. I don't live in London, boss of Poland. And like I said, there aren't many surplus stores left. Yeah, Sharp's excellent, isn't it, Claire? My favourite episode of Sharp, though, is probably Sharp's Gold, even though that's the one that Nigel Neal had the screenwriting credit for it, didn't it? The bloke who did all the Quatermass stuff. He sounds like not a very nice person, boss of Poland. If it's a current legal case, you probably shouldn't talk about it, but yeah. Well, I couldn't do much with 100 GP5s. I mean, I'd rather have one good mask than 100 like GP5s, unless you meant for selling them, because 100 GP5s would probably get you more profit. I've still got it, Will. Right, I'll try and explain it. Half of it is kind of bullshit, right? So it's an official document, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like I made it up and created it myself. It is an official document. The problem is it's one of those things where some of it definitely would happen. A lot of it is very variable on conditions. Like their best case scenarios in those things are going to go to shit. If you watch Fred's, I think that'll give you a good idea of, like what these sort of planning things were. You'd have a load of people sitting in a bunker somewhere who have no lines of communication with the outside anymore. And because all the like looting and rioting is going on and diseases killing people that, because no antibiotics, no clean water, it probably would just end up going to feudalism anyway, Those things are trying to keep everything civilized for as long as possible. In the end, it would just turn into, soldiers and civil servants shooting people. Exactly. That's the thing, isn't it? With that sort of thing, it's yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter if something's, I suppose if you're on the receiving end of something, you wouldn't really be very happy about it, would you? That you think in the future the person doing it to you might be prosecuted. Yeah, I've never seen anything else like them, Will, but I suppose that's because they probably burnt them or something, or they're just still sat in a thing. The only reason I got that, as I said, is just because my uncle does painting and decorating. He was doing somebody's house, and they were just chatting about the Cold War, and he said, oh, my nephew finds it really interesting. The guy goes, oh, okay, my parents are on the old planning thing, and he went into his attic and got it down. Oh, and the P90 SMG, well, PDW. P90s are pretty cool. Obviously, I've never shot one. The 5.7 by 28mm cartridge? That's a pretty interesting cartridge because it's obviously designed to defeat soft body armor. But yeah, The Road's a pretty depressing film. I haven't seen your question, Chernobyl man. What was it? Or is YouTube hiding it? So Joshua was saying that they had some rounds for their 50s, sort of like 50 caliber, like Browning M2 sort of thing. So you can't aim them directly at people when using them because they explode. You have to aim around them. So you aim near them. Obviously, don't implicate yourself. So yeah, you aim where it blows somebody's limb off as opposed to blowing them up completely, or whatever, or just peppers them with shrapnel. What's the rarest thing in my collection? Hard to say. I'm trying to think like what I've got that probably the least amount of them were made, because I've got 2 British C7 gas masks, and they're pretty hard to get because they basically cancelled and recycled them during the process of making them. So it was only ones that didn't get recorded still exist, but there's still probably quite a lot around. It's just lots of people want way too much money for them, so it's one of those things that eventually you get for a good price if you just sit on eBay and somebody lists one and doesn't know what it is. I don't have the American Mickey Mouse. The British Mickey Mouse isn't rare at all. It was just the children's mask of World War II. Basically, for children that were too small to have the smallest size adult mask, it's basically the British equivalent of like those PDFDs, basically. The British Mickey Mouse mask is just literally an Avon children's respirator that they made in bright colours. It's not rare at all. That's cool, I suppose. But in all honesty, like I said, at the moment, I don't want any more stuff because I'm basically trying to clear space rather than receive anything else. Like I'm saying, at the moment, I'm trying to get rid of gear rather than get anything else. But thank you for the offer. But MC4 filter, which filter's that from, Max? Is that the Polish one, the MC4? Or is that a Czech filter? What are things I have, like Geiger counters, gas masks? Oh, I heard about that one, Will, yeah. How did they eventually catch on to that? Was it like the power draw coming from it? But yeah, an abandoned nuclear bunker or a bunker you own would be a great place to grow something like that, wouldn't it? Because nobody can see it from the air, and you wouldn't be able to see with like a flare that there's more heat coming out of it than normal, if it just had a ventilation system. I thought that was the MS4, not the MC4, but yeah, regardless, like Brighter was saying earlier, if it's from the 1980s, apparently they'd stop using asbestos in them. But the thing I like about those filters is if you look at the top, there's an additional particle sheet at the top. So I think that would make it a lot safer to use. But bear in mind, they're probably going to be long since expired, so only the particle protection is still going to work in it. It is MS4, yeah. That's why MC4 is confusing me. Because I was thinking of like the MC1 mask, but then, yeah. Right. CSO, you can actually look on something like Social Blade and it will give you an estimate. Let's do it, because the only problem is Social Blade sometimes lags a bit behind. If you've had like a surge of views recently, it takes them a while to go on. But at the moment, it's saying I'm getting like 600 to 900 subs a month sort of thing. So subscriber milestones, it reckons 100k subs will be around August time, but it might be sooner because it depends. If I keep going like this, it probably will be like 6-7 months away. If like you get a video that randomly gets shared more by YouTube, that sometimes happens, your subs can sometimes just like jump up massively. Well, I didn't know Poland still had a king boss of Poland. I actually didn't know that. I'm assuming, is it like the UK sort of queen when we have queen and kings where they don't really have any power anymore? But obviously, I know a bit about the Polish history, where you kept being occupied by things like, like the Prussians and the Russians and the Germans and that. Because obviously Poland's in a bit of a bad geographical place for keeping, foreign invading armies out. Doesn't matter, if the Poles fight really well like they do. They're a bit outnumbered and screwed, but obviously, hopefully the good news is if Poland's in a bloc like NATO now, that stops that happening again. But, in World War II, us saying we defend Poland didn't help much because while it pulled us into war with Germany, Stalin had it straight afterwards. Yeah, that was the war they won against Russia, wasn't it, boss of Poland? That's the one not many people know about. Was that when Lenin was still in charge? Because it was a bit like the Finnish Winter War, wasn't it, where they bit off way more than they could chew, and they sort of, I guess, thought Poland would be an easy target, like how the Russians thought the Finns would be an easy target, Is Mongolia currently occupied? Not Alex, or is it its own country at the moment? I don't know. Was Mongolia originally a part of the USSR at one point? I really don't know. The weird thing is, Claire, I am much more of a fan of the monarchy, other than Prince Andrew, for obvious fucking reasons, than most of the politicians we have. Because in a lot of ways, I think a lot of the royal family, as much as they're not people like us in a sense, they at least seem to do more for normal people than lying politicians. Why would I be pooping in a sleeping? What? I don't think that's normal. I think you might have, if you think that's normal, you might have some incontinence issues. We're probably very fucked in the sense that it would be a nuclear exchange. No, I don't think this is a common thing. I think you might have, yeah, exactly, Fuzzy. He's being dirty. You are dirty. But yeah, it's kind of sad to think, isn't it, that the royal family is sort of falling apart in that sense. That you've got a nonce in there like Andrew. What's his name? Went off to America. Was it during all the Corona stuff when that first kicked off? Represent La Nation, if I'm saying your name right, because I know lots of people subscribed to me when Corona first started because I had videos on masks. Best brand new one, not surplus. I'm sure. Let's have a think, because the problem is a lot of companies won't sell directly to a civilian, so you need to get them as surplus. But I know MSA and a few companies like that sell masks to civilians as well as like the ones they produce for militaries. Is that the one that's called something like Tava Oyster or something? Because I'm not going to be able to pronounce a Finnish word. But I have seen one Winter War film, but I don't know what year it is from. Yeah, don't they have an FM54 and an FM55 now as well, Stug? But yeah, again, Avon's not going to sell you that, are they? You have to buy a surplus one. What's your budget, Connor? And I'll try and recommend you one for your budget. Talvis Stoa. Yeah, I think that's the one I've seen, but unless there's multiple films of that name. But it like a lot of it was guys in snowy trenches, and I saw it years ago. Which one's the Furners? I quite like the Furners, actually. Yeah, that's the one with a little bit on the side, isn't it? Like I didn't think that was a bad mask. I've seen far worse masks than that one. I mean, the Pewter is the worst mask I've ever seen. You know, if you think that's bad, see a Pewter. Right, if you've got 50 to 100 US dollars, Connor, you might be able to get something like one of these new, a GMC 500 for about that price. If you wanted something a bit more retro, you should definitely be able to get a CDV 700 in the US for less than $100 that works. You know, the bright yellow Geiger counter. Don't get a 715. They're an ion chamber, and you won't be able to get the needle to move on it unless you take it to an X-ray department, you know, or buy loads of legal check sources and stack them together. But CDV 700s you should be able to definitely pick up for $100. The best, you could also probably get a Soviet DP5V if you're lucky for that price. And a DP5V is a much better counter than CDV 700. Other than look, CDV 700 looks cooler, but yeah, if you're buying for practical reasons, I would say a GMC 500 is probably the best thing you get in that budget range. Because bear in mind, something like this is a lot more practical in a sense. I know it's turned off at the moment, but that's a lot more practical, something like this, than a massive old clunky Geiger counter. As cool as the old ones look, bear in mind that, you know, they're going to have parts that are going to wear out faster. Some of the replacement parts can be quite hard to get because they're using like very old capacitors and, you know, resistors and things like that. So unless you're really into electronics, it's going to be a ball ache to repair them. So I'd say for most people, you'd want to get a modern Geiger counter because it's just more user-friendly. Well, I don't know about regular N95s, but P2 and P3 half-face respirators are actually back in at Screwfix now. Did you get one, Gumball War? Did you get one that's actually not dried up and turned into plastic? Yeah, DP75s are really nice, Brightol. The only thing is DP75s are a bit more fragile. But there's one thing on the DP75 that is better than even the IMD5, you know, like the newer Soviet, like Russian-style ones. This guy, you know, because this is basically the better DP5, the IMD5, And there's one thing that's much better about the DP75 than this thing, and that is you can actually see it on the dial there. You can only detect beta. Let's flick this light on and see if it catches the writing. You can only detect beta up until there. So basically, you can detect beta on the times 10 scale. So you can detect beta up to 50 millirad per hour. But once you go beyond that, you can't detect it using this. It's not beta sensitive beyond that because I think it switches tube. The DP75 is beta sensitive to 500 millirontgen. So yeah, the DP75, one of the cool things is that the actual Polish GM tubing in it is a bit better than the SBM20. Depends. If you're in Poland, I don't know. Over here, you can get D&B Militaria. The cheapest place I've seen DIAC guns for sale in the UK tends to be Gunstar, but that can sometimes be a pain in the ass because, like, people have stuff listed, and then when you contact them about it, like, oh, I've sold it, but then they still don't take the listing down. It's like, well, thanks for wasting everybody's time then, you know. If you live in England, boss of Poland, I'd say the best place I like is D&B Militaria, because everything from them has always been, you know, quick to dispatch. It's in the condition they said it's in, you know. They do antiques and obsoletes as well as DIACs, you know. I'll have to have a look at Gun Trader then, Flazzy. But yeah, it's like saying Gunstar was a pain in the ass because there was a couple of guns on there that looked really nice in terms of like DIACs at reasonable prices, and then all the sellers, oh, I've sold it. But then they wouldn't take the listing down. So it's like, how many people fucking message these same sellers saying, I think what they were doing is basically leaving on a WoW price listing to try and entice you to go into their shop and look at other things. But that's a shitty thing to do, isn't it? Listing stuff you don't have for sale. Why is Gun Trader dodgy? There was an EU change to DIAC gun law, but I don't think that's really affected us. There's been several changes to the law, but the problem is what ends up happening with DIAC guns is like the RPK behind me. That was legal when I bought it as a DIAC. They'd have to DIAC them more than that now, so it means I've got a DIAC I can't do anything with unless I paid to have it re-DIACed and certificated, which then means that you'd make a loss selling it, so there's no point. So basically, it just sits there and can't do anything now. I know DIACs sit there and do nothing anyway because they're DIACs, but you know what I mean? It's that sort of stupid thing where they change the law, but they don't offer you any sort of buyback or compensation. So yeah, the nice thing is I'm allowed to legally keep them. The bad thing is basically I can't sell it, or, you know, if... Yeah, I suppose if you're buying from an actual gun shop, that isn't too bad, is it? But then also, I suppose you wouldn't want to have a gun in your car, would you? Right. I hope you're joking, but you are seriously, I think, risking a block, boss of Poland. Even though you're a member, that doesn't excuse you. Don't talk about illegal shit. You know. All right, you're gone. Like, the thing is, if you remember, it doesn't excuse you breaking the rules. You know, like I said, that person started off with the name 1488, so I was a bit suspicious. But you know, don't. The point is that, you know, we are completely legal here. Do I have a name? Yes, I have a name. It's Liam. I hope I have a name. So did it come in good condition? I'll be off in a minute, but like, the thing is, if somebody's a channel member, I give them a bit more of a chance if they're making a joke. But the thing is, just because you're paying me money essentially does not mean I'm going to let you break the rules. Because the problem is, I think a lot of people that do this shit like that are people that almost are like plants. So what I mean by that is, like, not necessarily the police, but, you know, people who are like really anti a certain thing. So they come on saying, oh, I am from this, you know, political point of view or whatever, and then they start stirring up shit. So yeah, because I think somebody going on about with a name 1488 and pooing themselves and everything like that, yeah, it makes me a bit suspicious. So that we used to have the Poo Man troll, didn't we? A while ago. Some of you might remember the man who kept talking about how my poo is radioactive. But yeah, if yours was in good condition, Gumball, that's great. But, you know, a lot of ARFAs are not in good condition because of how the French made them. Yeah, HBO Chernobyl, it might even be, yeah, it is. Right, I think this is the easiest way of saying, have I seen it? The fact it's been sitting on my desk for ages, because I end up rewatching it every now and then, so it often doesn't go back into the like DVD and Blu-ray rack. That's all right, I'm not going to be buying any more Gumball War, and it won't let you post a link here anyway. Like I said, I won't be buying any more. Yeah, it's not. Also, when somebody keeps saying I'm going to send you free stuff, I think it's again more people just trying to get your details. Yeah, well, they didn't Germany have quite an efficient lockdown at one point? That's probably why. I don't have any ham equipment, I'm afraid, like ham radios, but anyway, I'll be off fairly soon because I've been on for an hour and 15 minutes tonight. I'll be doing a members stream tomorrow, but, you know, I said, if you want to join up members, that's great. But, you know, if you join up members, be polite and be legal to people. Same rules as if you're a regular person, you know, like we were saying. If you sign up and then be a real weird person and talk about dodgy legal stuff, you're gone. Well, Grenadier, I was basically saying that I think Germany did a good job, didn't they, with lockdowns initially, or like quarantining, whatever the UK didn't, because our government decided over here for some reason that once Corona got to a certain point, there was no use trying to contain it anymore, which is obviously a stupid idea. US Afro Man, just simply on the fact that the firearm laws and lots of laws like that are much more nice in the US. Yeah, that's an easy rule to follow, isn't it, Fuzzy? But unfortunately, some people can't follow it. Because, well, like we're saying, because it's basically, if you get somebody come on here, only Diax, Nicky, and 2 obsolete calibers. The obsolete calibers are a Martini Henry that's a bit old and damaged, so it probably wouldn't be safe to shoot anyway, and a Schmidt Rubin that's perfectly functional, but obviously, because I don't have a firearms license, I've got no actual live ammo for it. I've got some inert rounds for it, but I can't show them on stream because of YouTube's stupid rules. But yeah, for going back for what we were saying, because if they're saying illegal stuff, I don't want to be associated with people that you know, doing dodgy shit like that online. No, I already said to you, Gumball, links won't come through because you're not. Yeah, it's not going to be as bad as here, Claire, but I do think that, yeah, Biden might push that. I don't want to get into politics on here, but the problem in a lot of places is, like we were saying, you get idiots ruin it for everybody. So you might have lots of people who obey the Second Amendment, you know, they don't do anything dangerous or silly with their guns, and then you would have, like, what those twats did at the Capitol building, you know, and then that will be used to push stricter rules on them. Cheers, Frederick. There aren't that many gas mask channels on YouTube, so that isn't very difficult if you have that opinion. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoy it. PMK4s, yeah, have a better thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Watch the video on it. I'm pretty sure it had a inner seal. Don't know why they did what just. But anyway, I'm meant to be going off now because I've already gone over the time I was going to do on this stream. So Weapon Collector's on Twitch at 10:30. I'll be watching him. And Shazza, we got, if I'm saying your name right, we got a bit of snow, not very much at all. You know, not as much as was forecast. I think it went further east than where I am. Anyway, have a good evening. No, I've not got a Gorka suit. I'll answer this as the last thing. I've not got a Gorka suit, but I've got 2 Ukrainian, I think they call them bars suits, which are kind of like Gorkas. They're like knockoff Gorkas. They're pretty comfy and warm and pretty good at keeping water and like mud out. But the problem is that often in the UK, it's never cold enough to make good use of them. So, you know, it has to be really cold before it's worth putting them on if you go out. because otherwise you just get too hot in them. Right, see you on Twitch then later, Mike. Right, bye everyone. Bye.